The first and the most important thing when going into any kind of business is doing research. So this research is knowing everything that has to do with the business. That's right from the construction fees, the ideation fees, everything, legal requirements, everything that has to do with the business. You need to actually research it. So by doing your research, you'll be able to know some of those things. If it is equipment you want to buy, if it is contacts of people that you need to be able to guide you throughout the business, all those things, you need to do your research and know the appropriate place where you will source that information. And if you are within Nigeria too, you know the way the business climate is in Nigeria, it's not very straightforward. Sometimes you might see someone doing something in a particular area and you will say you want to adopt the same kind of business or similar strategy. But the factors that make that person successful might be different for you. So it is important that you make a thorough research and try to find out, especially from people who are in that line of business. You know, when people are doing research for business, they will go and meet a successful person. You know, there's this general successful people that we have. So these people might either be successful through politics, maybe through business themselves, maybe their career, or maybe kind of handwork which they have. So they have some level of success since they've been able to do something consistently and they've grown to a point where people view them as successful. So sometimes we make that mistake when we are going into business and we go and ask the wrong people for advice. So let me give you an example now. Maybe you know somebody who is successful. He's successful in farming business. Maybe he has been doing farming for years and he's very successful. Now, you want to go into business. This could either be the same farming itself or a different line of business. Now, one thing I've learned personally as a business owner too in Nigeria, and as someone who has participated in managing other businesses aside from mine personally, I can tell you that there are some things you will do correctly in a business that will make you succeed. And there are some things that you might try to copy and also do in your business too, and you might end up failing. So, coming back to our farming example, you might want to go into the same line of farming. Maybe the person is into livestock farming and maybe he has been doing it for years. He has a nice pen, everything is going on well. Chickens are crying, chickens are giving birth, livestock everywhere is booming, nowhere is silent. Then you too, you saw the business and you admire it and you want to go into it. Maybe you get into the business, you sink in some money, you've already built some structures, and you see that the thing is not coming the way you expect it to be. Maybe you are losing your livestock and the prices of the feed are increasing, all those things. And you start to stress yourself, you start to ponder, maybe you even go to the extent of borrowing money to make your business survive. So at this point, you see that maybe the kind of success that the person was having, you are not having it, and you start getting depressed. Now, in some cases, this might not necessarily be your fault. It might be because that person has already started this business for a long period of time, especially in Nigeria. Maybe the person has started in a long period of time, maybe the time when the person initially started the business, the prices of things and the cost of producing that product, the cost of running the business is not as high as now. So, that person already has an advantage because maybe they've already built structures, they've already made connections. There's some groundwork that they've already done over the years that you, as a newcomer, you can't be able to keep up with that. So in such cases, you might see your business collapsing and you start crying. So what I would advise you do is you make that thorough research and try to speak with people in the same line of business so that they can tell you those things that are working for them correctly and if it is advisable for you to go into that same line of business. And be open with them, tell them what you have, what your budget is, and everything so that they'll advise you properly. The next area of mistake where people make during the research phase is, like I was giving the example earlier. Now imagine somebody who is successful. We tend to do this thing a lot. You say maybe you have a godfather or you have a spiritual father or you have a mentor, somebody who is successful they are looking up to. Although I'm not trying to throw shades, but I've seen when people, maybe someone is interested in going into Uber business. That is maybe Uber or Bolt or a driving business like that. And you are meeting someone, you are telling someone who is into clothing, you are telling them of your business, maybe someone who is successful doing clothing. Maybe because of one reason or the other, you are seeking capital from the person and support, but you go to that person for advice on that particular business. Now, that person is not in that line of business. They might tell you their strategies which they applied for their own clothing business that worked well for them. But some of those strategies will not apply or might not work well for you when you start your own Uber or Bolt business. So there are things like that that might actually sound enticing. It might look as if you are doing the right thing, but you are not taking the right steps. You understand? You might be doing the right thing, doing the research, but you're not taking the right steps. So it is important that you try and focus on the right steps that will lead to long-term success when doing the research for your business. Another thing you need to keep in mind when going into any business is know the capital required for setting up the business and also plan on how to get that capital for running the business. Now, for some of us, we might be lucky enough to be born into rich homes or into a family where money day, bread day. So sourcing capital in such cases might not really be an issue. You just need to have your business plan, have your idea, then pitch it to the right people that could fund you for that. But if you don't have the capital required for starting a business, one way you could actually, try to make steps for this is by having the plan written out. So once you have your business plan written out or you understand those things you need to do for the business to work, you can, have them written out. So that by the time you meet your benefactor or the person that can actually sponsor you, they'll know that this person is serious. Give them estimates, give them what your ideas could be, and also do your market research, people in the similar line of business and show what their results have been over the years. So these kind of things will encourage your benefactor, the person that is sponsoring you, and you can actually get good capital from there. I've seen when people go to banks for loans, I've seen when they've gone to cooperatives and other places to seek loans. If there's one thing we know about all these other places like their Pampe and the rest, is that they don't have chill for their money. With a family member, it is a lot more easier for you to say, okay, please, oh, I'm still trying to, get more funds. Or if you are struggling to pay, you can easily appeal to a family member in regards to your funds. But all these other banks, their OPay and the rest, they'll start calling people and they'll embarrass you. In short, there are cases whereby they'll bring police to your place. If you even borrow the money from a very rugged person, they might bring boys that will come and rough you up and teach you a lesson. So it is good that when you source funds, know the kind of people which you source funds from. Don't be desperate to borrow and start up a business that you've not even properly do long-term research for. Then at the end of the day, you see that money is not coming. You start panicking, you start selling your things, and you get confused. Try and do proper research on the business so that when it comes to sourcing of capital, you know those people you can actually speak to, be transparent with them, let them know, and try and know if the business is a profitable business. There are some businesses actually that when you ask someone how much profit they get, they might not be transparent with you, but you can look at the factors, look at your situation, look at what you have in hand, and in that case, you'll be able to at least know if this thing will actually work for you or not. And when you are speaking to the people who will give you funds, be open with them. If you are not sure that the thing will work, or you are not sure that in the next 1 month you'll pay the money, to avoid embarrassment, just be open with them. At least have like an open period. You can say, okay, from so so time to so so time, and make the time very very wide, oh, so that you won't go and borrow money because you want to look like a very correct person. You start, they didn't even ask you, you start telling the person, I'll pay you next week. Next week will reach again, you start avoiding calls. So let's try and understand how to source capital. And one other way again, self, which I feel this one is even better, is if you have a job or maybe a side hustle or somewhere which they are already working and funds is coming from there, you can easily use the funds from that business or your earnings from that particular side hustle you are doing to invest in the new one. By doing it this way, you are not stressing anybody, and it's your own money that is going into the business. So even if it crash, at least you've learned from the experience. You try to save up more, and you move on. So when it comes to sourcing of capital, money is something that actually makes businesses work. So try and do proper research and guide yourself on the kind of people who you source money from, and make sure that where you are allocating that money, you are allocating it in places that will actually yield more money for you. That is just the basics for running a successful business. Next thing for you is for you to know the legal requirements for going into the business. So there are some places whereby you might want to establish a business. Let's say maybe you live in an estate and you have the idea of doing a business in that estate. It is important that before you set up the business, regardless of which kind of business, some people can just see anywhere there's space and will mount their container there. So for such places, try and do research to know if it is allowed for you to actually do businesses, or maybe what you are doing is actually illegal there. So try and do your research, try and know what are the laws in that area, try and know if there is any agreement, any paperwork you need to do, so that you will avoid embarrassment. I've seen cases whereby, although these are just like roadside people, but you see people establish businesses in places whereby you'll see task force coming one day to scatter containers, people are running helter skelter, they are packing their goods, they are looting them, and the rest. So, when you do your own research and you know if it is advisable to do business in such areas, what the security situation is in that area, you will make a better informed decision when going into your business. Learning the legal requirements for a business is important, even if you are running a physical business, a service, or an online business. By learning the legal requirements for running business in that particular area or on that platform where you intend to do your business, it will help you avoid fines in the future and future embarrassments that might come. The next thing for you is to have a proper business account and proper accounting for your business. So if you are running a business, it is important that you have a separate account where your business income and your expenses are done. In short, if you want to have a separate account for income only and a separate one for your expenses, you can also have that. But for this, if you must do such things like that, advise that you hire a professional accountant or someone who is familiar with the softwares and they actually know what they are doing in regards to accounting. So when I say accounting, this also means general accounting. So accounting of your products, your commodity, number of clients you are servicing, the kind of goods that come in and what you've actually sold out, everything that has to do with your business. In one way or the other, you have to do proper accounting. So by having an accountant, a professional accountant, or by getting familiar with the best accounting practices for your line of business, you'll be able to keep proper records and you will know if your business you are actually making profits or you are losing. You should also find a suitable strategy that will work perfectly well for your marketing. So with any kind of business, you need good marketing. Either you're offering a product or a service, marketing is what will sell what you are offering. So by having proper marketing and a strategy of marketing that actually works for you, you'll be able to meet the needs of the right target audience. You'll be able to speak to the right people, you'll be able to show your expertise to the right people, and you will get high quality clients, high quality customers that will come in search of your product. These marketing strategies could involve either physical marketing and online marketing, media marketing, including all those posters and flyers and everything that has to do with marketing. There are some strategies that actually work well for a particular business or a line of service, and there are some that You might see it working well for someone, but might not necessarily apply to you. So just try and be familiar with some of those marketing trends. If it is physical marketing, if it's influencer marketing, if it is any form of online marketing that is available, try and be familiar with those marketing trends so that by the time you start doing your own form of marketing, you won't be spending too much money doing experiments, but you will actually spend on things that work well for you. So you can try other things too, but at least you should have a plan so that immediately you launch your business, so that when you launch your business, at least you have something to work with before you start understanding the business properly and you grow over time. The last point here is to educate yourself, train yourself, and if you have employees and staffs working under you, you should also invest in training them and educating them for better results. If you're in a line of business and you have proper knowledge of what you are doing there, you know how to handle the business aspects, the administrative side, and maybe the back end side to doing the paperwork and all those other things involved with the business. You'll be able to run the business smoothly and you'll be able to even fill in the gaps. Maybe in a case whereby somebody is not available to handle a certain task, or maybe the software you are using for running a particular program is not working well, you will know how to substitute it and get an alternative that will work well for you. So by educating yourself, attending trainings, jumping on trends, following news in regards to your business, you'll be able to grow and build expertise in that particular industry over a longer period of time. So I hope these tips I shared here today will help you in your business. Don't forget to like the video and also don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you know anybody interested in setting up a business and they need help and counseling with establishing the business and knowing if what they are doing is the right thing, and they need somebody like a research partner to help them with the business, you can also share my videos with them and my contact information.